Dr. Tony Robinson, Pastor Dan Thomas, PD, Coach Lisa Angel Smith. I'm shouting out these amazing people that God has connected me to because my life has been totally transformed by receiving so much wisdom from these individuals. And there's more. As I think about the last year, not even not even a full year, but just the transformation that has taken place in my life because of the people that are surrounded, are surrounding me. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Again, they are not the only ones, but I was like, let me shout out those three because they have had a major impact on my life and my growth in all the ways, in all the beautiful ways. And so shout out to them. Shout out to them. And shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining in. And let me ask you, who are your people? Who in your community has helped you make a positive change, has been that person or those people in your life that has caused you to look at your life and say, you know what? I'm going to do something a little bit different. They challenge you, they've stretched you to think new thoughts, right? They've stretched you to and caused you to take on the renewed mind, right? Who are those people? And I encourage you to write their name down and send them a thank you. Let them know how appreciative you are for them having such great influence in your life, causing you to grow, causing you to be much better. Who all was involved? Welcome to Her Renewed Mind. I'm so glad you're here. I'm your host, Dr. Candace, and this is a place and a space where you're going to receive encouragement and equipping for that beautiful renewed mind that you have. And while I have your attention, please subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching me on YouTube, hit that notification so you know when I'm live. I'm live every month, or not live, but new episodes drop every Monday. I am starting to go live once a month on the fourth Thursday of every month at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So definitely follow Vision Speak Consulting on YouTube. And if you're listening to me on audio, thank you so much. Please follow. Please rate this episode or rate the podcast with a 5-star and leave your written review. And this helps to get the show out to other amazing women that need this encouragement and need this equipment. And so for the last month, we've been talking about the courage to go. And so in this episode, I want to let you know that you do not have to do this alone. You don't have to move forward, and you don't want to. You really can't move forward without help, without community, because community creates courage. If I didn't have Coach Lisa Angel Smith, I'm telling you, in my ear, and then being a part of her coaching program, I I don't know if I would be at this level of optimal health with more to grow. Still have some goals that I am reaching for and will accomplish. But if I didn't have her in my life, my goodness, I don't know if I would be where I am. So I'm grateful. And it was my dear sister friend Sharon Rochelle who even mentioned her name. And then I connected. And Coach Lisa talks about the importance of community and having possibility models all the time. So I'm grateful because she truly is my possibility model for health, my possibility model for mindset, my possibility model for business. And so I'm asking you again, think about the biggest change that you have made, let's say within the last 2 to 3 years, and who was involved in that change. So, because I talked about Coach Lisa Smith, I'll talk briefly about my health journey. And I was at my heaviest weight last year. I didn't feel good physically. I didn't like the way that I looked. And I mentioned my sis Sharon Rochelle, and we went to brunch actually the end of 2024. And I could see the transformation happening physically. I could see it. And then she was telling me, the doctor's appointments that she was having. She was sharing with me that she started to do intermittent fasting. Fast forward to a couple of months later in 2025, I had Sharon come on and talk about her health journey and talk about her amazing doctor report and she mentioned Coach Lisa Angel Smith. I have been stuck. I was wallowing in where I was. And so instead of doing something different, I was reaching for sugar, which had been my MO for a while, really since I was a little girl, because I really liked sweets. I really liked candy and I really enjoyed chocolate. I really liked cakes and Little Debbie cakes. And I remember us going, my brother and I, we were little, we would go to the candy store up the street and get our, and leave with our brown paper bag or sack, right, with our candy, with my Fun Dip, with my Reese's Cup, with my Sprite, with my Grippos, or with my ranch. I was thinking blue in my mind, my ranch, or that was the blue bag for Doritos, or nacho cheese was the red bag for the regular nacho cheese. So sugar had been a part of my life. It was how I grew up. And so it became an addiction. And so thinking about last year and where I was stuck because I would go just a little while, not eating sugar. And then I would just go all in. I would just go for it. If I was feeling good, if I wasn't feeling good, if I wanted to celebrate, if I wanted to wallow and avoid tough conversations or avoid thinking about certain things or avoid doing things that I needed to do on my to-do list, I would run to sugar for comfort. I've talked about on the podcast and I will continue to talk about it because it's a part of my story. So I was stuck. And so I'm thankful though for my community because my sister girlfriends, including Sharon Rochelle, they knew what was going on. And their testimony and Sharon's testimony, me watching her, physically transform or her even talk about the mental clarity that she was experiencing caused me to pay attention. It caused my vision to expand to say, okay, if sis is doing in her body better, then I can too. If she's experiencing these results, right, then I can too. So I want to ask you, who are a few people that speak life into you? Who are those possibility models? When you look at their life, you're saying, you know what? I can do it. Maybe it's not in the exact same way, but you're thinking, if they can do it, I can do it. Who are those people in your life? And as you're thinking about those people, I want to share. And if you're on YouTube, you can see this slide. This is my first time doing it in this way, but I believe it's going to work. I want to invite you to the Courage to Go from Stuck to Strategic 90-minute workshop experience. It's Tuesday, July 7th at 6:30 p.m. And so why is this for you? You're identifying the need that you have, and now it's time for you to get your solution. So if you're realizing that you've been trying to figure everything out on your own, then this is another reason why I created this workshop. You're going to leave with greater clarity about what you want, confidence in what God is showing you, and a personalized action plan for your now and your next season. And you're having this experience with community. You're not alone. I'm with you, and the other workshop attendees are with you. And so it is time, sis, for you to go from stuck to strategic. Go to my website. You can see it on the screen here. If you're listening on audio, you can visit visionspeakconsulting.com. The flyer is front and center on the homepage. Click book now and go ahead and jump in the workshop. The details are also in the show notes. So you can go to the show notes on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this, or on YouTube in the description. You're a professional woman. You know how to do the thing. You work diligently. You take care of your family. You take care of your responsibilities. And so we, as professional women, need growth environments. We do. So there's research from the Center of Creative Leadership, and there's studies that show that relationships, mentoring, coaching, developmental experiences are the strongest contributions, are among the strongest contributions, to our leadership growth. My doctorate is in leadership, which is amazing. And I remember studying different leadership styles. And one of the leadership styles or models that stood out was servant leadership. And who modeled that? And actually was in the textbook. It was so cool to see Jesus modeled that, but he didn't do that alone. He had Holy Spirit, he had Father with him, he had his disciples that he was pouring into, but that was also pouring into him and influenced how he moved, right? So Jesus grew, the disciples grew. One of scripture says that Jesus grew in wisdom, stature, and favor amongst God and amongst men. So we are designed to grow and grow. We need these amazing environments for us to continue to grow. And so women with strong professional networks often report greater career satisfaction, increased confidence, and greater access to opportunities. I want you to reflect back on, just think about your career growth and what are those opportunities that you were given? Who are those mentors that you had at work that help you have greater access to opportunities and increased confidence? I've talked about my mentor recently, Anya Bon Beckley, and we actually were able to reconnect. And I would run to her office and vent to her and say, I'm ready to get out of here. And she was like, oh, daughter, oh, sweet Candace. And she would just help me calm down and give me great wisdom that I needed. She coached me, she mentored me. Rooms change perspective. So whether it is that one-on-one with your mentor or coach at work, or it's a conference that you attend, or a mastermind, a workshop, a cohort, or even a networking event, right? Sometimes we don't leave with all the answers, but we leave with a greater sense of, here's how I can move forward. Or maybe you leave with a question that you want to ask yourself or even ask someone else once you leave that place, that networking event or conference, and you sit with yourself and look over your notes, right? And you come up with the additional questions that you want to ask. You start to get curious. And if you're like me, I love to research, right? So if I don't get all the answers there, then I have resources that I can tap into online to get further instruction. I mentioned being with Coach Lisa, and I recently graduated from our Farm to Table coaching program. I'm currently in the Better Preacher Academy program, and it is, woo, it's so good, y'all. It is so good. And actually, I was journaling this morning, and you all are going to get a taste. You're going to get a taste. I can't give you everything because I want you to join the Better Preacher Academy yourself. Pastor Dan is going to run it back or run a different cohort, but I just think it's fun to say run it back. He's going to run it back in August. So stay tuned because I'll be talking about it because I want you to join in and then you can be an alum. But I'll probably be talking more about Better Preaching Academy and the things that I'm learning in July. I am currently studying Genesis and going really, really slow, really, really slow, and learning to ask questions. And that it's okay to ask questions, right? But you've been in places like that, right? You've been in situations or around people like that where your curiosity just starts to grow and to blossom and your mind begins to expand. Growth rarely happens in isolation. We need one another to help us to grow forward. So I've been sharing some points. I've shared the first point, and the first point was that community can help us see what we can't see. And I might not have said that intentionally, but I did ask, who are the people that consistently speak life to you? Let me shout out my parents because they consistently speak life to me. And then the next point, we as professional women need intentional growth environments. And I wanted you to think about those growth environments that you've been a part of. And then number 3, you got to believe that you're worth the investment. You are not made to grow alone. And so, sis, I want you to believe that you're worth that investment. I had to learn that I may have to put some dollars down to grow in the way that I saw, in the way that I envisioned. Vision Speak Consulting. Vision Speak Consulting. I created Vision Speak Consulting May of 2018 and knew I need help. And so I went to a book. I went to the library and got a book. I went to a Google event here locally and learned about an entrepreneurship app. I then was led to go to the Bible app on my phone and type in entrepreneurship, which led me to Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur. Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur, that community, the Bible app plan, the mentorship that I gained from being with Dr. Tony. You all have heard this story before, or if you're hearing it for the first time, I understood that I needed help and I was worth the investment. I was learning, and I learned a lot from Dr. Tony and still learning that sometimes you have to pay, but you're worth that investment. You're worth the money. You are worth the time. Do you believe that you are worth it? You're worth a workshop. You're worth the trip to the conference. You're worth the one-on-one coaching session. You are worth the 12-week group coaching program. Come on, somebody. So I want to ask you another question. What have you been unwilling to invest in because you've quietly questioned your worth? What have you been unwilling to invest in because you've quietly questioned your worth? Or maybe you didn't even realize that that's what you were doing. We're talking about courage. And it starts with believing that you're worth it. Believing that there's courage that lives on the inside of you. And there may be uncertainty, but it's going forward in courage anyway. Be courageous and invest in yourself. And I'd love for you to join me. I love for you to make the investment in yourself that you're so worth by joining me in the Courage to Go from Stuck to Strategic Workshop, Tuesday, July 7th at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom from the comfort of wherever you reside in this world. 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, and then all the other time zones, right? You can, this is so funny because Kyla showed me this while she was away in London that I could change the world clock. So I feel like every single time zone in my phone now, different places that I desire to go. So I can just easily see, okay, what time is it in South Africa? What time is it in LA? What time is it in Taiwan? Okay, this is just so cool to me, and I'm grateful for this type of technology. So wherever you are in the world, I would love for you to join me in this workshop. And again, you're going to leave with a clear plan. You're going to leave knowing what your next step is going to be. I believe that. And you're going to be with a community of possibility models, of people that are desiring to do just like you, to go from stuck to strategic, to be decisive, to be intentional about their now season and their next step. So are you ready? Are you ready to get out of isolation and join a community that can help you be strategic? And I believe it'll be a ripple effect. When we get strategic, that gives others permission to do the same. It gives others permission to know that they can also gain clarity and know that they can also invest in themselves and believe that they're worth it. So join in the program. Again, you can find all of the details in the show notes and in the description of this podcast, whether you're on YouTube or one of the audio platforms. I love you so much. And until next time, peace. There's the peace sign.